Hey, yo, welcome back to Interviews, the show where we take a deeper dive and interview our friends from around the community that come in and just do some amazing work. Mary Keefe, Representative 15th Worcester District.
Perfect.
Yeah? Good?
Yeah,
Good?
yeah.
All right. I have all these words I'm trying to remember in my head. Thank you so much for being my first guest ever on Interviews. It was an absolute blast hanging out with you today. And there's just a couple things that I want to make sure that we talk about that you absolutely wanted to talk about. One of those being Mass Inc. And I also would like to know what your goals are this session for criminal justice reform.
Okay. So Mass Inc. is a group that we do a lot of work with on Beacon Hill, and their research organization, an arm of Commonwealth Magazine.
Okay.
So anyway, they've done a lot around criminal justice reform from the very beginning. They created a report for Mayor Marty Walsh that was called The Geography of Incarceration, and it was focused on Boston. And I loved it when I saw what they were doing. They were actually mapping where people that were incarcerated were going to be returning to. What neighborhoods were these folks coming back to?
Right. And we're going to put one of those maps up here, but where can folks at home find that map?
If you Google Mass Inc., the geography of incarceration in a gateway city, that's where the work is archived for Worcester.
Okay.
So they did the same thing for Worcester, looking at all, no surprises, the poorest neighborhoods.
Wait, can I guess?
Yeah.
Okay, so Main South, obviously, that's the number one, I'm sure. I would say Vernon Hill, Bell Hill, and Great Brook Valley, Lincoln Street area.
I would not say so much Great Brook Valley.
Really?
No.
We've come a long way, huh?
Yeah.
Because I grew up in Great Brook Valley, and in the 90s, that was definitely not the place to be.
I mean, you do have.
I mean, it was a place to be
back.
for me, but white people sure didn't like coming there.
But you left out Piedmont. So Piedmont is the other one. Yeah. So.
I know we were actually talking about.
Yeah.
We'll save that for the raw, uncut, unedited version.
But anyway.
You want to hear that joke?
So if you look at this map and you count up the time that each of these dots are translating to, each person's time in prison, and putting a price tag on that, and then you add it up, you have blocks that are worth $1 million.
Wow.
For the amount of money that the taxpayer is putting into incarcerating people.
Right.
Now, did these people do something wrong? I'm
Maybe.
sure. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
So, but what are we doing to make sure that as they're coming back into society, that they have the tools that can get them on their feet and on the right track?
Well, I think that's the thing, honestly, is that we don't pay too much concern, emphasis, or care even on people that are incarcerated. We just want to know that they're getting the punishment, right? But we don't care about what happens to them once they're in there.
Right.
And how often do we actually think about their reentry into society, what that looks like, right?
Right.
But wouldn't you say that's like the most important thing? Is just because you've been locked up for a mistake or whatever it is, the most important thing is how are you going to come back to society and, how are you going to be a changed person? How are you going to behave? Are you going to be a danger?
And what we know about brain development in terms of young people and how long it takes, well, we've got to work with that. We can't just be, letting them sit in a cell or be in solitary or whatever. How do we help to make this person an even greater person as they're coming back out?
And also protect them from a lot of traumas that do happen in the jail and prison system, especially our children. Because they're going in 16, 17 years old and they're around grown men who are maybe even doing life sentences and then happen to do things to them or encourage them to do things that can prolong their sentence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so many.
Well, this goes to a bill that I filed this past week that has to do with young people that are incarcerated in an adult situation. And we're trying to figure out whether they are getting a constitutional right to an education while they're incarcerated. And we don't feel like that's adequately happening.
Yeah.
And so this bill would require, and there's already a bill on the books that requires this, it's constitutional in terms of what we're supposed to provide, but we aren't doing it. So this would require some research, some understanding, and then again, like I was saying, for 2018 criminal justice, some accountability about what the law says now and how are we doing that, making sure that that happens. Yeah. So it's unfortunate, like we spend a lot of time and energy around the accountability piece. I'm really hoping Governor Healy is going to be strong about some of the things that we're trying to see accomplished. But we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
It's exciting. Congratulations again on being re-elected, right? You were.
Well,
this
yeah,
is your second term?
No. I've been in for 10 years
10
now.
years. Oh.
Yeah.
My math is way off. So 5 terms.
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's great. It's exciting.
And
to
what
start.
what a great election process to be a part of. We have a brand new Worcester 1st District Senator.
Yep.
And Robin Kennedy. Shout out to her. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And obviously our first female duo. Governor, Lieutenant Governor with Kim Driscoll and Maura Healey.
Yep.
How excited are you moving, into the next term with all these amazing people that you're going to be able to work with?
Yeah, I'm just so proud. It really was the year of the woman.
Yeah,
I feel like,
it's been a strong year for the women, that's for sure.
So let's hope that we can live up to the expectation of what that means. But we've been saying for a long time we need more women in government and lots of different people in government,
Yeah.
Women and minorities, or majorities.
I never understood the mindset. We really got to go. There's one more question I want to ask you. You have to come back because I have like 5,000 more questions I want to ask. But you gotta. I don't understand the mindset in that a woman or a mother is the governor of the home, really. Everything that happens in the home, the woman is in control of. But then when you get to governing a country, it's like it's a man's world. And wouldn't it make sense to have a woman doing
Well, let's see what happens.
what she does at home already every day?
Yeah.
It's like,
I know with a new attorney general, and like you're saying, the Healy administration, I think it's going to be exciting to see how this works out.
All right. And before we go, I don't know if we hit on these, but I just want to make sure we hit on them. Your top 3 goals for criminal justice reform moving into the session.
So the second one that I wanted to mention, it has to do with Corey. And we've done some great work on Corey, but it should be more automatic. Because people get out, they start living their lives. Going back to seal that record can be a real obstacle, going back into the courts, all of that. So we want to see this what we call automatized, so it's more automatic for people. So that's one. The education in our prisons and jails is another. And then data collection. As John was talking about, we don't get any data from the jail, from our Worcester County jail. We can't get the data. And this is very frustrating for Commissioner of Health here in the city because we don't know who's in there, like what their ages are, what they've been charged with, demographics around people of color, etc. That's important information to sort of
it's vital.
so that we can have the right programs while they're in there,
right.
but also have the right programs to support them when they come out.
Mary Keefe, thank you so much. We're all out of time. I appreciate you being here, but before we go, I just want you to tell everybody how they can get in touch with you, how they may be able to assist you in helping along your process through your next session. So
anybody can reach out to me. You can go to the mass.gov site, but my email is mary.keefe@mahouse.gov. And that's the best way to reach me. I have 2 great staff people. If you talk to them, they'll make sure that we get connected. And I'd really love to see families that are affected or have loved ones incarcerated get more organized, have a stronger voice. Just, we need you. We need you. And time to fight for what we think is right.
Thank you so much. And before we go, I just want to thank all of you, first and foremost, for tuning in. This is our very first episode of interviews. I'm so happy that we're here. We're on a new wave, doing the same old thing because our work is never done. And before we go, I want to thank some very special people who made all this happen today. My man John, jumping in with John Keefe. My guy behind the camera, Cole. It's just Cole. Look him up on Facebook and Instagram. And some other amazing people that you're going to get to know real soon. So stay tuned.